Good morning. Let's admit everyone that's here. Nikita, will you admit people as they come in? That would be great.
Yes.
Perfect. Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you good.
Good morning.
Perfect.
Yes, we can hear you.
Wonderful. Welcome to our first iteration in our Sourcing from SADC webinar series. Greetings from the Southern African German Chamber of Commerce and Industry here in Johannesburg. Though admittedly I am in Cape Town this week for the mining in Java. I was really excited to see you all here. I think people are still trickling in, but in the interest of time, I think we'll start soon because we have a really exciting lineup for you today. Really wonderful speakers that we were able to secure to delve into food products from Zambia and Zimbabwe. Our first stop on our SADC journey. I'll share at the end where we go next. But I think for now, let's concentrate on these countries. Maybe just a quick housekeeping. Participants are all muted and the videos are off. So if you have any questions, do feel free to post them in the chat, and then we'll endeavor to answer them at the very end of the session to not run over time. Please, whenever you have anything, pop it in the chat. Maybe just a quick word before I hand over to our first speaker about the Southern African German Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Our headquarters is here in Southern Africa in Johannesburg. We have offices in Durban and Cape Town, but we also cater for 12 countries in the region, Zambia and Zimbabwe being 2 of them. So if you need anything, you're looking into anything German, Southern African business relations, do reach out anytime. And if you want to know more, you can check our website, which I'll link to when I send the presentation around after. And without further ado, here's a little agenda. I'll hand over to my colleague from TTAI, Jenny Tala, now, to give us a bit of a country overview of Zambia and Zimbabwe and the current state of trade in particular. And then we have Zambia first after that, as well as then obviously Zimbabwe, both more from a broader perspective and then a company case. And then as I said, we close with a quick Q&A and some info on the upcoming session. Wonderful. Over to you, Jenny. You just let me know when I can advance the slides.
Yes, with pleasure.
Welcome.
Thank you, Bernhard. And a welcome from me as well. It's my pleasure to give you a quick economic overview of Zimbabwe and Zambia today. My name is Jenny Tala. I'm the Director for Southern Africa from Germany Trade and Invest. Bernhard, I think we can go to slide 4. Yeah, next, please. Yeah, before we dive into the region, I just want to say a few words about Germany Trade and Invest for those of you who don't know us. We are Germany's Federal International Economic Promotion Agency, linked to the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy. We support German companies in setting up business in foreign markets, and we also assist foreign companies to invest in Germany. I work very closely with the colleagues of the Chamber. We have 2 locations in Germany and almost 60 offices abroad. And from here in our office in Johannesburg, we cover 9 countries in the region. Next slide, please. Yeah, like I said, we operate in 4 business fields. That's export promotion, incoming business expansions, location marketing, and we also implement a number of support programs on behalf of the ministry. One that you might know or that could be interesting for you is the market entry program. I'm happy to share more about that for any of you who's interested. Next slide, please. And in the field of export promotion, our mandate is to support German SMEs by creating market transparency. Let's say the information that we provide include economic analysis and outlooks, sector studies, information on law, regulations, and customs, as well as practical knowledge about tenders or support mechanisms. It's all free of charge, available in our database. So I invite you to take a look. Okay, now let's dive right into the region. Let me begin with a brief look at the regional context, because both Zambia and Zimbabwe are part of the wider Southern African dynamics that are currently shaping economic developments in the region. So across the continent, we're seeing projected growth of around 4.2% in 2026, with even higher rates in many countries in Southern Africa. And this region's particular growth is fueled by the abundant natural resources that we have, mining projects, diversification efforts, especially in areas like renewable energies, but also agriculture, digital transformation, and a very digitally savvy youth. At the same time, the region continues to face structural challenges such as high unemployment, political uncertainty in several countries, public debt pressures. We're faced with a lot of infrastructure needs and gaps in several countries, and also an increasing vulnerability to climate shocks such as droughts or floods. So with that in mind, let's turn to what these 2 countries can offer international buyers and partners. I'll start with Zambia quickly. So Zambia is a country of roughly 21 million people, with Lusaka as its capital, and a territory that is more than twice the size of Germany. The nominal GDP stood at $26 billion in 2024, with a projected GDP growth of 5.8% for this year. Next slide, please. Thank you. Zambia is one of...
I'm just battling to get on with my audio.
Zambia is one of the leading copper producers in the world, and copper really continues to be the backbone of Zambia's economy. And that heavy reliance on copper underscores both opportunity, because obviously global demand for copper and energy transition minerals is rising, but it's also a risk for the country because price and production shocks can have immediate macroeconomic effects. But despite this and also other, can we go back just quickly to this slide? Despite other structural challenges like the high public debt, Zambia has made major progress in the past years. The government completed a complex debt restructuring program, which has restored a considerable amount of macroeconomic credibility. That's very positive. At the same time, Zambia is recovering from most of the severe droughts in decades, which hit agriculture and the energy sector very hard. Zambia relies heavily on hydropower, so the drought triggered a nationwide energy supply crisis. But there's also opportunity in that, because the government has since accelerated investment in energy diversification, especially in solar energy. Next slide, please. When we look at the trade, it's important to note that both Zambia and Zimbabwe are landlocked countries, meaning they rely highly on infrastructure and access to ports for both imports and exports. When we look at Zambia's export basket, it's dominated by copper. 67% of all exports are copper and related products, and that is also clearly reflected in the trading partners. When you look at the export side, you see that Switzerland is the top export destination. That is largely due to copper trading. China, Democratic Republic of Congo, and South Africa follow. So I see the slides are, the numbers are a bit mixed up, but I'm sure we will share the slides afterwards. Germany appears in both categories, but as you can see on a comparatively small share. Next slide, please. So trade with Germany follows a pattern that we see a lot in Southern Africa. Imports are led by agricultural products and raw materials. In Zambia's case, particularly tobacco, coffee, tea, spices, vegetables, and fruits. And on the other hand, German exports are dominated by industrial and processed goods such as machinery, fertilizers, pharmaceutical products, and chemicals. And in the interest of time, I'll leave it to that, and we move south to Zimbabwe. So Zimbabwe has a population of roughly 17 million people, nominal GDP of around $44 billion in 2024. The International Monetary Fund forecasts a GDP growth rate of 4.6% for this year. However, some analysts have become increasingly optimistic in the past weeks, predicting up to 8.5% of growth this year. And that's following Zimbabwe's recent agreement with the IMF, which is anticipated to speed up reforms and also boost the economy. Economically, next slide, please. Zimbabwe relies heavily on agriculture and also mining, especially gold and lithium. There's still a lot of untapped potential in all of these sectors, especially in renewable energies, agriculture and food processing, and also in the mining sectors. However, Zimbabwe comes from not the easiest place and is still facing deep structural challenges that include hyperinflation, persistent currency instability, high unemployment, infrastructure deficits, and relatively low productivities across many sectors. To address monetary stability, the government introduced a new currency not long ago, the Zimbabwe gold, that is partially backed by gold reserves. It has created a short-term period of stability. However, the underlying structural challenges still exist, which is why the deal with the IMF is an important step for the country. Next slide, please. In terms of trade, South Africa is by far Zimbabwe's largest trading partner. China plays a significant role, especially on the import side, but also on the export side, as do Mozambique and the United Arab Emirates, which have emerged as a key destination for gold. Germany's share remains quite little, again suggesting for more cooperation and more trade potentials to address critical infrastructure and industrial gaps. In terms of export products, next slide, please. Zimbabwe is much more diversified than Zambia, but still largely raw material driven. Top export categories to Germany include precious stones and metals, tobacco, nickel and ores, and different agricultural products. And on the German side, imports from Zimbabwe are dominated by machinery, paper products, different technology, chemical products, and also vehicles. And that's it from my side. Happy to answer any questions later, or please feel free to reach out if you need any further information. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny, for that quick run-through overview of these two countries. I know you're an expert in many countries in the region because you work on those studies and reports for many of them, so we could definitely fill like an entire session with your expertise, maybe for a later time. I'm sure people can reach out to you if they have any particular questions. But as I said, in the interest of time, we dive right into our first country, which is Zambia. Also the first country that you introduced, Jenny. And I'm particularly excited that we are joined by Muntanga Lindunda, the CEO of the Zambia Association of Manufacturers, to give us a quick overview of what the sector looks like and what capacities are in the food processing sector in Zambia. And then right after, we take a quick look at a company that I had the pleasure to meet last year, 260 Brands. Muntanga, can you hear us? And
yes,
are you
I can
here?
hear you. I hope you can hear me too.
Wonderful. A very warm welcome. Thank you for joining us. We have reserved about 10 minutes for your presentation. So the floor is yours, and you just let me know when I can advance the slide for you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Happy to be here. And I will guide you, I think, as we flip the different slides. But before I start, just to say Zambia, I know a brief has been given about overview different sectors, but just to mention that Zambia has been increasingly moving from raw material commodity exports. We still have a lot of raw materials, as earlier mentioned, that are being exported, but we see ourselves moving to value-added foods that are being processed, and there's a shift. Of course, we were affected by the droughts that you mentioned earlier, but we see a steady growth in terms of becoming more competitive in our region and where we can supply to other regions. If you can just go to the next slide, which outlines my discussion points. Next slide. So in this presentation, I'll give the Zambian context when it comes to food, and then comparative advantages, the production clusters and modern production, export readiness, and also now delve deeper into sourcing and investment opportunities, our unique selling points, and why should source from Zambia. So if you can move to the next slide. We always pride in our position in terms of politics, the way we are geographically placed, and also the fact that we have an improving trade and investment climate. When you look at our macroeconomic stability, I think the last 3 to 4 years, we have seen a lot of improvement, and the current government has been quite supportive of making sure that the macroeconomics are stable to attract investment. Our president is always talking about how Zambia is open for business, and over the past 3 years, we have seen some discipline which is quite attractive to buyers. So when it comes to predictability matters here on the political and macroeconomic landscape, you can see that there will be fewer surprises when it comes to supplies in the different value chains. And the fact that we have 8 neighboring countries means that we have 8 and more possible gateways into our region and beyond. And when you look at SADC and COMESA and how we are strategically sourced in terms of our routes and access to different ports around us, it means that buyers and sellers within our region can work with, like I earlier said, with fewer surprises, noting that there will be reduced disruption in terms of risks simply because of our geographical position. So I like to refer to ourselves more as land-linked rather than landlocked because of the opportunities that we are connected to. And then I think there was a discussion on improving trade and investment, the improving and trade and investment climate. I think there are a lot of reforms in the tax administration. And as an association, this is our strongest value proposition, which we want to see businesses thrive. We want market connections, and we have seen some positive outlook when it comes to creating an environment for manufacturers to operate and for investors to come in. And in this particular case today, we're talking about sourcing from Zambia, from SADC. We see that what manufacturers worry about, which is the cost of doing business, is something that the government is actively tackling, and in trying to improve the confidence for long-term buyers and partners. If you can go to the next slide. So in terms of our comparative advantages, I think these were mentioned. I will not delve deeper into this, but we have a vast land for sure. And this means that even when you look at the possibilities and where we are located, it means that we are able to feed. Let me talk about the region, just the neighbors. We are able to feed our neighbors and go beyond that because we have this asset and we have a good climate. Of course, we were just coming out of a drought, but we have seen some good recovery there. But also when you consider water sources, 40% of the water bodies in Southern Africa are in Zambia, although not 100% harnessed, but at least in the period when we were in a crisis, we saw farmers quickly switch to alternative sources because other than just rainfall, the fact that we have water bodies gives a good option for how we till our arable land. And then also there are a lot of farming communities that are producing because of the demand that we see in our neighboring countries, and also increased knowledge on growth of our arable land. Next slide.
Okay. We might have to speed up a tiny bit, Muntanga.
Oh, okay.
Just-
So I'll try. Okay, if I can just go to at least the clusters. Of course, there's a concentration in Lusaka, Central Province, along the what we call the line of rail, where there's a lot of economic activity. So we see a lot of processing, value addition going on in Lusaka, and also being a logistics hub. And then in terms of the products that we see are popular cereals, both domestically and internationally, snack beverages. There's a lot of processing of horticultural produce. And in the southern province, I think historically there's been livestock, and now we see more processing livestock. The government has given us more like a target on how we should export more in the livestock sector, because this is our comparative advantage. We see opportunities in edible oils, grain, milling and confectionery, and these are strategically placed because historically this is where they've been coming from: rice, peanuts, and value addition in all these sectors. If you can move to the next. So with regards to modern lines, I think we see a lot of adoption of modern technology, because when we look at the efficiencies, like for example, millers are able to produce more than 150,000 metric tons per year, and even smaller businesses are able to produce up to between 10,000 and 40,000 metric tons per year, and those who are in oil crushing are also able to produce. And because of adopting modern technologies, so more food processors are using automated lines, and this is really adding more to being able to meet the demand that Zambia faces. If you can go to the next slide. I'm trying to beat time. Of course, there's the domestic demand and the regional demand and the export demand. Of course, as an association, we have seen a lot of training that others, and not just ourselves, have done in these particular sectors. In the edible oils, we see a lot of exports, and then when we had opportunities to supply even under the AGOA, we saw a lot of opportunities from our members in particular. But I think our concern here is if standards can be, in the terms of bringing standards together, international standards, especially for juices and food concentrates, then there's a lot of opportunity if more is invested in these sectors. Otherwise, domestically, there is a lot of export readiness there. The next slide. So when it comes to sourcing and investment opportunities, of course, there's a lot of contract farming and off-take agreements that can take place. Joint ventures, we've seen a lot of joint ventures when the government has brought in state-owned enterprises and marketing them to beyond Africa and into Europe, all in an effort to improve the value addition aspect. And when it comes to our niche in terms of the foods that are organic, I think we have seen a lot of expansion here, and there is that unique trust that people have of what is sourced locally because of its organic nature. And then in the region, we've seen a lot of aggregation of partnerships as well. Next slide.
One more minute.
Okay, one more minute. Okay. I'll quickly just say that our unique selling point is that the fact that we have a young population means that there's a lot of adaptability to new technologies, and a youthful labor force in the agricultural sector is a good demographic dividend. And then in terms of competitiveness, the existing market acceptance, compliance with standards, which I talked about earlier, is a really good selling point. And in terms of our logistic position, I think I'll not go deep into that. And the fact that we have a huge natural resource. The next one, I think I'm still under 2 minutes. So all in all, we can say that we have a revealed comparative advantage of 13, which means that we are doing what we are good at. And then it means also that we are able to demonstrate that we have the competitive strength to produce different products that are viable for the German market. I think I'll end there. You'll be able to ask me questions later on.
Wonderful. Thank you, Muntanga. That was absolutely enlightening to learn a bit more about, what's available in Zambia. But when I think Zambia, I always think honey, which I guess everybody knows from shop shelves around the region. And I even learned when I was in Zambia last year that you now have a company that makes gin from honey, which I found particularly exciting. So well done to you for innovating in that direction as well. Thank you so much. Next up, we have what is, I believe, one of your member companies. With us from Zambia, a company called 260 Brands. I was always wondering why it is called 260 Brands, but apparently it is about the telephone country code for Zambia, if I'm not mistaken. Ethel, are you here?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us and sharing your company story. With the audience today.
Thank you, Bernard. Hello, everybody. I hope everyone is well. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having 260 Brands. And you're correct. So the name 260 Brands comes from the Zambian country code, so +260, and that's where it comes from. I know I have 10 minutes, so I'll ask you to go to the next slide, please. And then we can go to the next slide. So I do know the Zambian country profile has been explained already. We are in Central Southern Africa. Our capital is Lusaka. Official language is English. Our size was explained earlier by Jenny, just over 750,000 square kilometers. Key sectors in the country are mining and agriculture, and our population is in excess of 21 million people. You can go to the next slide, please. So just going quickly into 260 Brands, our vision as a business is to be a leading manufacturer of the highest quality consumer products that enable a good life for the world's people. So not just Zambians in Africa, but globally. And our mission is to manufacture, market, and distribute reasonably priced consumer products which are inspired by our local tastes, and then they're made from the best African raw ingredients that contribute to our consumers' well-being. Our tagline or our motto is Taste the Good Life. And we've been operating over the last 28 years, going on 29 in May this year. Just going into our products. So we manufacture plant-based foods and beverages, which are primarily from soybean and maize. And that's our primary base. And in our food range, we have a number of different brands, including Golden Goodness Soya Pieces, which is a texturized vegetable protein. We also have Seba's Instant Tobwa, which is inspired from a local beverage here in Zambia. We have a Nutramil Instant Porridge, which can be used as a cereal for children as young as 6 months and older. And then we also have high energy protein supplements, or HEPs. And we have a snacks range, which is under what we call Emilio. So it's the Emilio's brand of snacks. And then in our beverages, we have plant-based milk. Our main brand or mother brand in that range is called Nutramilk, which is a soy milk. And then we launched Africa's first ever soy juice blend, which is NutraSip. And we also have Seba's Tobwa, which is a beverage. The brands there just show what imagery shows the brands that we have. Our Golden Goodness is certified organic, and in our milk range, we also have a certified organic soy milk, a barista blend, which is for our coffee lovers, and we have sweetened and unsweetened variants. Next slide, please. So just in terms of our current landscape, we service over 3,000 customers. In terms of distribution, we have 60 owned vehicles and counting. We're just about to add to our fleet another 200 vehicles. And then we produce 2,000 metric tons every month and counting, because we are increasing our capacity and scaling up. In the past, 260 Brands has exported to neighboring countries, including the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, Botswana, Namibia, and also South Africa. And also interesting to note, we've also exported to the United States before, and we were listed on Amazon. So we sold online in the United States with our soya Golden Goodness tasty soya pieces. Next slide, please. The next slide just shows some of our awards. I will not go into a lot of detail. Some of them are from Amazon, quality awards given from Zambia, Africa Food Awards, and also from the Zambia Association of Manufacturers. So I'm also quite happy to see Muntanga on the call. Next slide, please. In terms of the certifications that we currently possess, like I mentioned earlier, we are organic certified, and we also have FSSC 22,000 certifications. And just going into some of the partners that we work with, we purchase, and rather we've partnered with 183 smallholder farmers that are fully organic certified, and we help them through the process. So we also do work with the smallholder farmers, and to a larger extent with the conventional farmers, we work with over 6,000 farmers. Next slide, please. So coming to why Zambia, and I think from the perspective of 260 Brands, we have a quality and diversity of agricultural and horticultural products, whether it's us who produce products made from soybean and maize, or other organizations that produce fruits and vegetables. We also have a very advantageous climate condition. So we are quite advantageous in that sense that we have a favorable climate. And we are committed to sustainable and organic farming practices. So that's also one of the other reasons why Zambia. Next slide, please. And why buy from us? Why buy from Zambia? So I think firstly, quality assurance, which is very important, I think, not just for us in Zambia, but globally. And we do have very high standards of quality control in our production process, ensuring that every product that we produce is fresh and safe. Unique offerings, there we have our organic soybean. We support local communities, and like I mentioned earlier, we have certifications, but also we operate under very comprehensive hygiene and safety protocols, which are guided by authorities such as OSHA and the Factories Act and ISO 22000 from 2018. Next slide, please. So just more on quality assurance, I won't go into too much detail here because of time, but we do have regular structured internal audits that, govern our process, global compliance, quality packaging, and for our beverages, just to mention here, we utilize a 7-layer Tetra Pak for this. So that's also one of the advantages, and it does have a 12-month shelf life. We also have raw material control and stringent quality checks in that sense, a traceability system, and in terms of our team, continuous training and a culture of constantly improving. So we're always on top of our game. Next slide, please. Why now? Why 2026 to work with Zambia or 260 brands? We've always believed in providing nutritious products, and I think with health being a very important aspect globally, not just in Zambia, we maintain that we'll always provide, very nutritious plant-based foods and beverages. And there's a growing demand, obviously, I think with the trend over the last few years. The trend shows that the demand for our products is growing, and that's why we've been able to export so far. When it comes to market access with our certifications, it allows us to export easily with very few restrictions. And as a business, we are expanding our capacity. So we'll be doubling up over the next few months, and we'll be able to ensure that we can deliver on time and in bulk. Next slide, please. USPs, once again, I think for the most part, I've spoken about our commitment to quality and freshness, diverse product range in our food and beverage portfolio, and we're also very open to partnership opportunities for mutual growth. Next slide, please. All right, I think I've come almost, at 8 or 9 minutes, so happy that I'm within time. These are my contact details, and I just realized, Bernard, I didn't add one of our other email addresses. It's sales@260brands.com, but I will share it in an updated slide. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ethel. I can definitely include the other email in the presentation as well, and then circulate it when I circulate the slides with everyone at the end. Because I'm really sure people want to revisit and see, the great products that you just presented or just gave us a quick run through. Super exciting. I actually, just a side fact, I got to know 360 brands because we were in Zambia last year to work together or look into the EU deforestation regulation, where 360 brands doing a lot to also comply on the soy side of things. So that was sort of like our first touch point, and it's really great to see that you're growing that fast and well. So congratulations and good luck with that in the future. And maybe we can herewith attract some new buyers.
Yes.
For you.
Yeah.
Thank you. If you have any questions for Ethel, just pop them in the chat. And then I think we have just on time to continue to neighboring Zimbabwe. Before we do that, a quick, I don't know if you can actually show yourselves and switch on your camera, because we have two colleagues here, because the chamber actually has representatives in both Zambia and Zimbabwe. I don't know, Bernd and Cynthia, if you can show yourselves. If you cannot, maybe you can pop your emails in the chat if you like, if anyone wants to get in touch, because they are two fantastic colleagues who look into our customers and our partners in both Zambia and Zimbabwe. We don't have people on the ground in all countries in the region, but I guess it shows that the importance also from a German business perspective that Zambia and Zimbabwe hold. So just you've heard the names. There's Cynthia in Zambia and Bernd in Zimbabwe. Talking of which, I'm super excited to have the Horticultural Development Council from Zimbabwe present today. Guys, I don't know if are you here?
Yeah, you're both here.
Okay, wonderful. thank you for joining us and giving us a bit. I mean, we've heard, a lot about Zambia now. Now let's switch to Zimbabwe and, you highlighting what you've got to offer from your end and also how the Development Council does support the sector in Zimbabwe. So the floor is yours. Excited for your presentation.
Yeah, good afternoon, guten Tag, everybody. Mandla on my right and Liam, who comes later, similar to what the Zambians did as a country example. We are working with the Horticultural Development Council in Zimbabwe. So I think a lot of the general information have been made, and also we are neighboring countries and very similar in the context to Zambia. So we will focus very much on horticulture in Zimbabwe and investment opportunities, but also on current productions. So Mandla will start off, and then later on myself and Liam will continue.
Thanks, Michael. So if you can go to the next slide, please. I'll just get straight into it. So we were formed in 2020, and we are a business member organization, or a BSO, business support organization, as some people like to refer to us. Our main mandate or role is to support the sector. When we kind of use the terms interchangeably, industry and sector, we kind of call ourselves the horticulture industry, and then the sectors refer to the different commodity sectors, so blueberries, citrus, and so on. So I'll show you that in a few slides' time. So what we focus on is, that should actually say financing and funding models, but I'll change it. So it's basically trying to get money into the sector, into the various sectors, into the entire horticultural industry, and coming up with sustainable models that will allow us to get investment in and out of the different value chains. Policy advocacy, so that's a lot of work we do around working with our line Ministry of Lands, as well as other decision makers, to make sure that we have an enabling environment to allow for that investment to flow in and for exports to flow out. Business case development and implementation, again, that's working with the farmers to make sure that they're export ready. You'll hear from Liam a bit later on some of the value addition and the work that he does in that space. But so we're looking at not only the export of fresh produce, but also processed fruits and vegetables. So all in all, we're looking to build a sustainable, viable, and inclusive climate resilient horticultural industry. Next slide, please. And what that looks like in terms of our membership, it's then split into different sector associations. So blueberry growers, avocado growers, coffee, and so on, as you can see from the diagram there. Individual farmers would register with those associations, and those associations affiliate to HDC. The farmers don't export through HDC, so it's not mandatory that a horticultural exporter be a member of HDC, but what we've done is create a network of growers, like-minded growers and farmers who want to see our industry grow and want to share experiences and knowledge and be able to grow their individual businesses, but their sectors as a whole. So collectively, we make up 85% of all horticultural exports out of Zimbabwe to different parts of the world. Our membership is made up of existing farmers, new farmers, who are grouped into small, medium, and large categories. And then you are trade members, who are any input suppliers or service providers who provide services to our members, our farmers. Next slide, please. So what that looks like in terms of, I won't go to the first part there because that's already touched on, but in terms of our annual revenue generated from horticultural exports, it's been gradually increasing, and we currently on about 120 million US per year, or 120 million as at 2025. That contributes towards 18,000 direct jobs with 10,000 outgrowers. And Michael will explain that a bit later on how we have a model that incorporates smallholder farmers into the commercial production space or commercial export space. And our target is to get to a $2 billion. So 120 million to get to 2 billion annually. And Michael will break that down as well of how we're trying to get to that target and what that will look like in terms of employment creation and what that will do for the overall Zimbabwean economy. And the next slide, which I think is my last one before I hand over to Michael. It actually is the last one. So maybe I'll just give Michael a chance now to take us through what are the investment opportunities and how we've grouped some of these horticultural crops. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Mandla. Just for explanation, I mean, in many people's terms, horticulture is very much your cabbage and tomatoes. So in our context, horticulture includes the annual crops, which are like your vegetables, perennials, which are things like blueberries, passion fruit, but also flowers. I think Zimbabwe has been very much in the news for blueberries, but there's a lot of other activities as well. And then lastly, all the plantation crops, your avocados, your nuts, your citrus, your coffee, are also tea, also part of horticulture in Zimbabwe. So we're representing all this. Please go on. Yeah, I think this is what we really want to focus on. So we have listed quite a number of products we have, and the current output in metric tons per year. You see, like bananas is the biggest, macadamia, blueberries. So these are the products Zimbabwe horticulture is producing at the moment. Some of which is going to the European Union, and some of it is going already to Germany. Liam will expand on that later. So the production is there. We can sell product to Germany if you want. Our main problem at the moment is actually not markets. Our main problem is expanding production, because generally for these products, we are pretty much sold out. Obviously, if somebody offers more, we are open for talks. But these products are generally sold because overall Zimbabwe horticulture products have a very good name internationally. So what you see as well, and Mandla mentioned this 2 billion target, which we have developed together with our members, obviously, and the Minister of Agriculture, is really expanding, as you can see in the second column, double, triple, quadruple our production. Which traditionally some of which we had, which I think like Zambia, land and water resources and labor is sufficient. What we are needing is investment in the growth. So I think also this is an investment pitch for anybody interested in coming on board. We can come up with all sorts of models in terms of equity, in terms of partnerships, in terms of long-term investment. We know that Zimbabwe has got a rather bad name, let's put it blank or blunt. But I think I know we are much better than our reputation, and we would like to invite anybody from Germany or elsewhere to have a look, to see operations like Liam's, and there's a lot of others. The investment opportunities in Zimbabwe are fantastic. We can build on existing, as you can see in the first column, we can build on existing structures and expand and supply Europe and Germany with really first-class products. Next slide, please. Yeah, Mandla mentioned this. This is our main production model because we are a private sector organization, not an NGO or anything. But to utilize this potential, to reach this potential, we need to integrate specifically smallholder farmers into formal markets. And that's what we do through the hub and spoke model, where the farmers are outside driving the wheel. The hub in the middle is the aggregator, the market, and those spokes that make the wheel stable are your things like technology, funding, extension, so on and so forth. And we're using this in various models, from annual products, vegetables, to avocados and coffee. And that enables us to really reach the entire country and bring the smallest of farmers on board. Next slide, please. Oh, yeah, right. Go on. Okay, that basically it is. I guess we're in the 10 minutes. Thank you very much. I'm sure you share these presentations, and we will also share a video with a little bit more explanations on HTC, so you can share that with the members. And then I think Liam will now go into details and give you a concrete example of production. Thank you very much. Gut, vielen Dank.
Yeah, wonderful, Mandla and Michael. Very interesting. I actually didn't know that you've got such a big flower production sector as well, and seeing that you want to grow that quite considerably. That is something new that I learned. I mean, the blueberries, you said, is a well-known example, but very interesting to see what else is on offer. Thank you also for your investment pitch. So if anyone doesn't only want to buy from Zimbabwe, but actually wants to invest in agriculture and production there, I think you now know who to turn to. With that, I think we come to our last presentation, but not least, today with Liam from Montgomery Processes, who will share a bit about what they do and what production they're actually in. And when I saw the presentation, I got very hungry for baked beans, and you will soon know why. Liam, over to you.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for your time and setting aside a bit of focus to look at the Southern African region, which is quite an exciting up-and-coming region. I think you saw on the background that the GDP growth, which is projected for Southern Africa, is quite remarkable. And we do hope that we can build on our successes. So very quickly, my name is Liam Philp. I am a born and bred fourth generation Zimbabwean. I used to be a farmer. I lost my farm during land reform, and that moved me into agro-processing. And later on, I am a representative of two business member organizations. I sit on the board of the HDC, and I'm also the president of the Commercial Farmers Union. My motivation is to promote regen ag, rural industrialization, and unlocking the potential of smallholder farmers and graduating them into slightly higher production bases of commercial farmers. They say pictures 1,000 words, so I've got a short 1 minute 20 video, which will hopefully give you a lot of words and a little bit of a background about our organization.
Well, let's see if the sound works. Otherwise, I think, can you hear the sound or not? Perfect. Oh, it's stalling. Great. Let's see.
Thanks, Bernard. Unfortunately, the video didn't seem to like the delivery very much, but I'm sure we all got the gist of it. So
you can rewatch it. You can rewatch it when I see the presentation.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So a bit of a background to Montgomery Processes. Our farm, which we lost, which incidentally we actually back on now, was called Montgomery Farm. So that's where the name evolved from, Montgomery Processes. We built a business on the back of cherry peppers. The Germans refer to cherry peppers as Kirschpaprike. I'm sure my pronunciation is not very good. We started manufacturing cherry peppers and exporting them in the late 90s. And we progressed into canning in A12 cans, which is a 5-liter tin can, cherry peppers at scale. At peak, we were 450 tons exported into Germany. It's been a remarkable value chain for us. So that helped us build our organization. We've got a 10,000 square meter processing facility just on the outskirts of Harare, and we're known for innovation. In 2023, we installed the first Tetra recart packaging line on the African continent. So it says something about Zimbabwe and our organization. Tetra Pak had the confidence to deploy their very first machine into Zimbabwe, and it's been a remarkable success. It's replaced the traditional tin can, and within 2 years, we have now captured 78% of the market share. We were very pleasantly surprised about the population's readiness to convert from a traditional tin can into a carton. And we're actually running our factory at 24-hour shifts, 7 days a week to keep up with demand. And we have yesterday signed a contract for our second line, which we will be installing. We've created opportunities for over 2,000 smallholder farmers and their families, and we hope to increase that over the next 3 to 4 years up to 10,000 smallholder farmers. You can go to the next slide. So we boast a very well-developed agriculture and export infrastructure network in Zimbabwe. We had a tough period after land reform, and a lot of our infrastructure went into mothballs. But it was pretty easy to reinvigorate it. So all of our plant quarantine services, our infrastructural roads and cold storage and logistics and everything has been reignited, and it's one of our biggest assets in Zimbabwe. Our very biggest asset is our people. We've got phenomenal people in Zimbabwe who are very friendly and kind, but most importantly, they possess a mindset where they are well versed in export agriculture, on the agriculture side, of course. Our particular organization is certified with BRC certification. We're audited by a South African agency who audits Southern Africa. We've got an A+, which we're very proud of. We've got a fantastic quality control team who runs the factory. We are known as people of integrity. Zimbabweans are people of their word, and we find that our word is often stronger than a contract. And we really enjoy doing business with Germans, because Germans are very similar-minded people to ourselves. So our relationships, which we've had with German customers, very mature businesses over 100 years old, like Henry Lamotte Foods in Bremen. We've had a relationship with them for more than 10 years now, and it goes from strength to strength. Geographically, Zimbabwe is very well placed for a wide range of crop production. Can we move to the next slide? So our range is, I highlighted cherry peppers, baked beans, of course, which you saw in the video. December, we had a record month of production. We produced 1,248 metric tons of baked beans. So it's a tremendous amount of baked beans for Zimbabwe. We've got a variety of tomato products, from tomato paste to puree, chopped tomato and onions. We are about to launch sweet corn and garden peas. And then we are working towards introducing a range of fruit as well: blueberry, mango, mandarin oranges, and guavas. And then in Q4, we are hoping to receive a very large food processor, which is going to enable us to start making some really high quality soups and broths. You know, the next slide. I think that's it. Yeah, those are basically my details if anyone is interested in reaching out. And I'm happy to answer any questions about our organization or Zimbabwe, and hopefully encouraging people to come and trade and invest in Zimbabwe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Liam. Wherever you look and when you talk to people inside and outside of Zimbabwe, it seems Zimbabwe is back in business. So that is really good to see and to hear. And it seems Zimbabwe has a lot to offer, as we just saw. So if you are interested in any products in the food and horticultural sector, you can reach out to Liam, obviously to the Horticultural Development Council. Can we expect your baked beans in shelves around the region anytime soon? Or do you all eat that within Zimbabwe?
At the moment, we've been struggling to keep up with local demand, but we are hopefully this month going to be commencing trade into Malawi and Mozambique, and the following month, hopefully Zambia and Botswana. So we are expanding our regional footprint. I'm also a big advocate for inter-African trade. In Africa, we import far too many food products from China and Europe that we should be producing and value adding at home on our continent.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. And I think you're doing a great job to contribute to that. That brings us to the end of the session. We don't have much time, but I don't know if our presenters can stay on for like 5 minutes. Nikita, we could potentially take 2-3 questions from the chat, if there are any, that can be answered in a reasonable amount of time.
We do have a question to the team at 260 Brands. The question is, how can a shipping company like Hapag-Lloyd help get your cargo and product to a bigger market across the SADC region and globally?
Hello again. Thank you for the question. So I actually saw the message in the chat box from Cullen Stevens and responded in the chat. I'm happy to connect him to our head of logistics and supply chain after the session. I've put my details there, and yeah, with all the growth that's planned, we definitely are open to collaboration. And if we can, align on how best we can work together, there's certainly an opportunity there. So we're open.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ethel. So there's one connection made already. Anything else, Nikita?
Yes, there's another question by Bridget. Her question is, I'm from TÜV Rheinhold Group. We are a conformity assessment body dedicated to assisting governments in ensuring that imported goods comply with both national and international standards. We facilitate seamless market access for traders by guiding them through complex regulatory requirements. Furthermore, okay, it's not a question, it's more of a statement for support, I guess. Apologies. When I started reading it, I thought it was more of a question. So Bridget is actually giving her support in terms of collaboration and more information that attendees from the session can reach out to her.
Super, wonderful. Thank you so much. If there's no other questions, you have the contact details, and you certainly, if you don't have them now, you'll have them once I circulate the presentation. Maybe just 2 alerts quickly. Our next session will be on the 11th of March, same time, same place. You just need to register again with a new link, and this time we'll be traveling to Namibia and look at the growing beef and animal product sector there, beef, game, leather, wool, you name it. It's a small country. Well, it's not a small country, it's a small population with large potential. So do join us for that session. And the other thing I just wanted to share, so if you are a German company and you are interested in exploring markets in Southern Africa, be it for sourcing, but also for investments, there's something called the Consulting Branch in Africa. And when you contract someone like us at the Chamber to do market research for you, you get 85% of the cost reimbursed. Unfortunately, that is only open to German registered businesses, but I think it makes looking into the region and exploring the region in terms of sourcing very, very easy and very, very affordable. So if you are interested in that, please drop me an email, and the link here with more information is also in the presentation if you want to look it up later. Yeah, and that's me. I actually didn't say that at the beginning, I suppose. I'm running the Competence Center for Sourcing. So if you have any sourcing inquiries, interested in any product from any country in the SADC region, you're always welcome to approach me. And the team, we're happy to assist. We're also, apart from sourcing, look a lot into sustainability and ESG practices. So it was really wonderful to see from, all presenters from both Zambia and Zimbabwe that there's such a high focus on, quality, consistency, but also sustainable business practices. So thank you for that as well. Without further ado, I think we close the session here. Unless Nikita, you have anything from your end?
No, nothing from my end.
Wonderful. Nikita always makes sure that things run smoothly and I'm not doing anything untoward. So thank you for that, Nikita. Thank you to everyone for joining us for the session. I hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you at the next session on the 11th of March. Wishing you a lovely afternoon. And thanks to our presenters for being here. I know you've got businesses and organizations to run, so really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.